Welcome to Florida Capital T. My name is Anna Marie. I'm sitting down today with Alert. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
I have Dr. Bruce Struble, I have Serenity Williams, and I have Melanie Andrade. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started into this. Our next school board agenda review and board meeting will be August 24th and 25th. The city commission meeting will be Wednesday, August 26th, starting at 3 p.m. And all those agendas can be found online on their organization's websites. Monday, August 17th was a public hearing for the Historic Harms Charter Amendment. YouTube or the county website to catch up on that. And Bruce Struble was actually part of the charter review. How did you actually feel about that?
I thought it was an amazing process. I am fortunate to have served on a city and a county charter review. And if my records are correct, I am the first person, if not the first African-American person to have that honor to serve on both commissions.
Wow.
Review charters. But that wouldn't have been possible without the support of these two women right here and the rest of the people at Tallahassee Alert. We make it a point to get our people onto these different committees so that we could participate in the democratic process.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about Alert too, because I've been following you guys for a little bit, but I know not everyone has, so just let us know what's going on. What's Alert?
I want to go first.
You.
Okay. Well, Tallahassee Alert, Alert standing for African American Local Election Review Team. It's been around for now 6-7 years plus here in Tallahassee, working hard to bridge the gap between the people and their elected officials. And, you know, we've just seen a problem, especially in the Black community, which is why we focus on that community, is that a lot of people feel disconnected from the process, feel disconnected from the information. And we felt it robbery that we who are involved in those things don't bring that back to our community. And so Bruce started the space with some other of our core like OG Alert members and is now grown into this massive like local organization that frankly I don't think is found anywhere else in the community. And so we're really happy at with what we built.
Yeah, and I mean you guys, Dr. Bruce, you actually teach, is that correct?
Yeah, I teach political science and African-American history, public policy at most of the schools. Now, I haven't worked at Florida State, but a lot of schools in the region, particularly Florida A&M University and Tallahassee State
That is so cool. So you kind of bring that perspective into Alert and into that community so that you can educate all of us. Because I've learned so much just following all you guys independently.
Awesome. Yeah. It's funny thinking about the origin. The way we came up with the idea for Alert is it would be election time. And we were like, how are we supposed to know who to vote for? Yeah. And who cares about the issues we care about? So I would have groups of friends and we would sit in my living room and we get our sample ballots out. And we found that wasn't enough time, right? It's it's right early voting and we're trying to make a decision now. So I was like, we need to start this a few weeks earlier. We found out a few weeks is like, you know what? This is going to be a long-term process. And it's like, okay, we elected this person, but now they won't talk to us anymore. Now what do we do? And that's when I happened to run into this young lady and I happened to run into Mel in that same time period. I had known Mel before that, but I was like, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And they were like, yes, let's do it. So
yeah, because like y'all also do the candidate debates,
Yes.
which I think I went to most of those, at least for the local. And then y'all also do like conversations with these candidates one-on-one too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very like a very involved process. And looking at y'all's endorsement list, right? And like your process for how you ranked people and like what the process went through. Like it's very detailed and you can tell that it's not something that you just kind of like, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's what we think.
The point is that we want to move from a politic where people either automatically, because of party or some other reason, supporting particular candidates. We think it's very important, especially in this day and age now, that we have people who are solid, who are actual people in the community, from the community, who understands their issues. And for folks in the community to have, again, that bridge that connects them to there. A lot of folks, again, feel like their interests aren't being heard in certain rooms. And if we can make the community feel like they can hit up any of these commissioners or the mayor or state reps whatever the case may be, we want to make sure that they feel like they can call them and say, this is my issue. I need to meet. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for someone, like myself who's white, like I want to be able to support y'all's candidates, right? Because what's good for you is also good for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways that someone who is maybe white could also be involved and maybe help you guys like amplify your voices, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can be a member. You can be an allied member. So we kind of have a tiered member system where you wouldn't be a voter. So we have our internal voting process. However, you would be an allied member, and we have a chat within our WhatsApp group chat system where the overall community, so the voting members as well as the allied members, can engage, and that's where we plan things together. And we
So I need to get the WhatsApp.
you need to get into the WhatsApp. We have a Google form that you would fill out to like actually become a member, whether it's a voting member or an allied member. So yeah, we do have. I
have the emails. Like I'm getting the emails, but I'm not on the WhatsApp.
Yeah,
so
you need to become a member officially.
Yeah.
That's how we've started our relationship with the League of Women Voters and been able to collaborate with them. And we kind of like our coalition building is pretty organic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way we ran into the league and started organizing with them is a little bit different than CAJM, for example, Capital Area Justice Ministries.
Yeah.
And we work with them, and they support some of the initiatives that we're going to talk to you about soon today.
Yay.
So we do it organically, and I find that that's the best way to do it, because when people like actually want to be in relationship with one another, that's how it continues on. So we're not out here pressuring and begging people to join, but when people are ready to actually be involved and be alert, then they come in.
Yeah, just again emphasizing that anyone is able to be a part of Alert. Again, at the end of the day, we're trying to find solutions and success for the entire community. It's just we felt like there was a missing piece when it came to specifically organizing the Black community here in Tallahassee. So we just wanted to make sure that we have that container for that type of organizing, but definitely. Alert is open to all races and creeds, and we would love to hear from those perspectives as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You had mentioned CAJM, so do you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
We want to jump right into our amendment first and then talk about how that feels in.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I know Melanie loves telling the story, so I'm going to let her tell the story, but just a little background. Again, like Bruce was talking about, he was a part of the charter review committee for our county. This committee is only sat every 8 years, so it's a very kind of rare situation to happen. And we felt that since this only comes around, not once in a lifetime, but once in a while, that we need to have someone that's a part of Alert be on that board and to push some initiatives that we were talking about in the group. And we sent out emails to commissioners. I think we might have kicked somebody off of the committee that was on there before it got resolved. But I think it was time well spent. And I'll let Melanie tell the story about how we got to where we are with this amendment.
Thank you. I'm a storyteller, as you can tell. But no, to Serenity's point. So the Citizens Charter Review Committee, it's every 8 years. This is something that charter counties in the state of Florida do. And it's really, when you think about it, it's one of the, like we talk about voting and educating people on the candidates that are going to be on the ballot every year. But this is one of the direct processes of like democracy. This is a way where voters, instead of deciding who is going to make decisions for you, you get to make a decision yourself. And that is, should we change something in our county charter? Our charter is basically our constitution. It's our governing document. So those people who are appointed every 8 years, they have a very important task. They have a tall order. They're supposed to. Now, I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying they're supposed to look at the Leon County Charter and decide if there's something missing here or if there's something that should be amended out of here to make our county basically, in my estimate, like a more fair, just place to live for all people.
Right.
So we knew that we wanted Alert members on there. We have an Alert platform. We have different policy areas that we focus on year year round, no matter whether there's an election coming or not. And so we said, we got to get some people on this committee so that we can push something from our policy platform.
Yeah.
So Bruce wasn't the only name we submitted. We submitted quite a few names, and they had to go through an application process with the city. With the county. And it came down to it. We only got one person, and it had to be Bruce. So we said, okay, we'll work with what we got. But me and Serenity are honorary committee members. We were at every meeting. I mean, we were there more than some of the actual committee members. Anyway, that's another story. So we actually had 2 moving proposals. We had one for an Office of Food Systems, which is more, so it's more broad than just food insecurity. Food insecurity is a part of, when you talk about food systems and a local food systems plan, food insecurity is a piece of that, but it's much more broad. And we're able to bring both of these, so that as well as our historic harms assessment and accountability amendment, which we've renamed a couple of times. We were able to continue to keep those 2 alive. So the process is pretty lengthy. You have 21 members of the committee, and you make your proposals, and then the committee you bring whatever supporting documents, right? So we worked closely with Bruce in creating very detailed documentation so that committee members could understand this, and we sent that out to committee members, presentations to put up on the screen during these committee meetings, and they were every 2 weeks for about 6 months.
So you had like 2 weeks before the next meeting to get all your stuff
Yes.
ready to go.
So
for the
we
next
were
meeting.
talking every day. I mean, we talk every day.
Yeah.
So we had to talk like multiple times, so we had to continuously move these things through, edit them. Every argument we heard from committee members against them or concerns that committee members had, we had to continuously address those and rework our proposals to make sure we could keep them alive through the process.
Yeah.
There's many other great proposals that came in front of the committee that did not make the cut. Just because, the team behind it, like you have to have an in-depth strategy. You have to garner community support, work with those other groups like the League, like NAACP, like CAJM, in order to keep it moving. So we did that. Food systems, unfortunately, we lost some of the committee support, and it ended up, we still got it out of the committee. We ended up sending it over to the county, but instead of as a charter amendment proposal, as a policy proposal.
Okay.
So the county is still looking at possible ordinances in the future around that.
Which is still progress.
Which
Yes.
is definitely,
Yeah.
that would have been like a plan B, with plan A being to get it into the charter.
Right.
So we still celebrate that as a win, and we're still working with some broader coalitions to make that happen. Now, for this amendment, I love this amendment, and we call it the zombie amendment because we had to resuscitate it. So actually, we felt like we were kind of playing, dodgeball in a way with county staff, because they continuously brought forth some great arguments against our proposal. And so the way that it worked out was that so their task was to bring back actual ballot language and then amendment language. So the actual language that would go into the county charter.
Yeah.
And so they did that, and they ended up, I'm not going to say it's by design, but they ended up bringing it back at the final meeting. So remember, the Charter Review Committee is temporary. It's 6 months.
Yeah.
So they brought it to the Charter Review Committee at the last meeting, and not everybody was there. So we had 18 members there, and you have to have a majority of the vote in order for your amendment to make it out. And it died on a tie. It was 9-9. So we were so heartbroken. I'm sure that Bruce cried afterwards.
we was all crying.
And so we were like, dang, we lost. We were licking our wounds.
Pull out the ice cream.
Right. And I think not even a day later, we were in the group chat let's try to revive this. Let's talk.
Awesome.
Let's call the county commissioners one by one. Let's set up meetings. Let's persuade them that this is such an important issue that it died on a tie. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so we made our case. We asked them to bring it up in a commission meeting and vote to bring back. So reconvene the Citizen Charter Review Committee, which at this point it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be over. And we were thinking we don't have enough support. We need 4 of the 7
And now you're asking everyone to come back in. You're like, come back to this.
Right. And the county commission meeting happened. They debated either way how they felt about it, and we ended up getting enough votes to call back the Citizens Charter Review Committee.
Absolutely.
And then we said, okay, let's revise our plan drastically. We really need this to be something everybody could get behind.
Rewrote everything from the original amendment.
Yep.
And actually, the second time that it came back, we got more engagement from the committee.
Mhm.
Because before it was sort of like, we don't even really want to engage in any of this language right now. Like, this just sounds like a mess. But the second time around, they're like, okay, obviously these crazy people are pushing it for a reason.
Yeah.
So let's dig more into it. And honestly, that was a beautiful couple of meetings, or I think it was like 1 or 2 meetings where the whole committee was like, let's put our head together and like, let's wordsmith this thing so we can like get this through.
And it's strong now too.
Yes.
Because like
Mhm.
I did watch the county meeting and it sounds like it was a very strong
Yeah.
proposal, you know?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So we ended up passing on a majority vote,
Yeah.
and then
14
we
to
had
3.
14-3, and then we had 3 public hearings, where still there was no real debate against it. And I think at that point we're like, okay, we might actually be able to have a majority of the county commission not necessarily support our policy proposal, but at least vote to put this on the ballot in November,
Yeah.
which is a win that we're celebrating this week.
Yes.
We didn't think we had 5. We knew we had 4.
Mhm.
But the 5th commissioner kind of blew us away, Commissioner Cummings, and she said, I don't agree with this as a policy initiative, but I do think that it's at the point where voters should be allowed to decide. So we got 5. We passed 5-2.
And I think that that's what's important about like these conversations, right? You have people who disagree,
Mhm.
and then you kind of come together at the table, and now you have all these people who like have these alternative decision or ideas on it,
Mhm.
and then you're brainstorming and workshopping how to make this so that everyone's happy.
Mhm.
And I think that that's like the beautiful thing about having these conversations in the community and really being able to workshop these things
Yeah.
and get it something that the whole community can get behind and the whole community is proud of too.
Yeah.
And real quick, I think you all told the great story of how we moved it as policy, but we didn't
But
say
what
what's
is
in
it?
it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, we did.
We did not.
So, historic harms is historic harms amendment. I'm sorry, we said the historic harms assessment and accountability amendment is what we're calling it now.
Okay.
It is basically we're mandating, or I won't say use that term because I will offend people. We are placing a process in the county. It'll be a reoccurring process where they are to look at and assess and audit the impacts and the lingering effects of past policy that the county put forth. So that could be environmental decisions, land use decisions, social justice issues that were found in county policy that they learned was wrong, but we never looked at it and said, well, what was the impact? What did that cause? And then we're going to look and see how are those policies impacting us today? Is there any lingering effect?
Yeah.
And then that has to happen every so many years. That will be determined in a later ordinance. And then the county will review it. It'll be on a public record. The county will review it and then determine if there's a way to mitigate it. And that's what we were excited about.
And from my understanding too, the state says it has to be geographical, or y'all changed it so that it's geographical
That was
in order to kind of.
that was the limits that some of the new state and federal executive orders and state laws have reduced us to. We couldn't work. We had to stay within the confines of the law.
Right.
So in order to even get it out to committee, we had to
So
say this is going to fly. The county attorney was watching us very closely, and it was like, okay, if we do it on geography and we do it on data, which will still get us some of the same results we wanted,
Mhm.
then we were comfortable moving with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I feel like that makes it even stronger in the community for anyone who is against it.
Mhm.
It's within the law. You know, it
Mhm.
is within the law. It is the geographical region because that way we're all good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our amendment, and we got it passed on Monday, like we said. And next week, actually, we're wanting to do more of that community workshopping together. So we're hosting an event next Thursday, the 27th, at 6 p.m. at the main library, where you can learn all about the historic harms assessment and accountability amendment. And be able to see like how we like build community, really. The space is really a community building space where you just so happen to be learning about something educational. So yeah, if you want to be a part of that.
Can you say that again? It's August.
August 27th. So next Thursday at 6 p.m. at our main library downtown.
At the main library. Awesome. I will try to be there. I will try to make my schedule work.
You can find the information on our Facebook and Instagram, Tallahassee Alert.
Okay. So if you missed it, you can go check out their pages then too. Awesome. Okay. Well, the whole reason that I actually wanted to do this podcast today is because we're filming this on Wednesday, the day after the elections, the primary elections.
Yeah.
And so it's all really fresh. on how the results came out. And I actually printed out for everybody kind of the results for us to refer back to. But I really wanted to kind of talk about the election and
Where you
like
wanna
how we're
start?
feeling.
Yeah.
Like how
We want to start from the top. Let's start from the
You
top.
want
Let's
to
start from the top
race
and
by
go
race? Or you
down.
want to talk in general first?
do we want to do general and then race by race, or do we want to do let's do race by race and then
Okay.
and then we'll go broad.
Okay, so because I think it's good if we start from the top because it really gives us sort of that general sense, anyways. We are in a country where we have Donald J. Trump as our president. In the state of Florida, we have a super majority Republican legislature. Families in Florida are really struggling with healthcare costs, struggling with housing costs, struggling with childcare costs. The fact that you can't easily get around in certain cities, people are really struggling. And so at the top of the ticket we had this year in the primary was the Senate, the U.S. Senate with Angie Nixon and Alex Vindman on the Democratic side. And then Ashley Moody took it away on the Republican side.
Correct.
And this is really the testament of Angie Nixon winning that Democratic process or that Democratic nomination. Really is a statement to people are really yearning for something different. Angie Nixon is a representative in our state legislature from Jacksonville. And she is a community organizer. She is known for the work that she has done to actually try to improve people's lives, but not just her improving people's lives, giving people the tools for them to improve their lives, right? And so with her winning this nomination for Senate, I think you're going to see a lot of energy, being a Black woman, coming from that sort of space. And that I think trickles down into all of the other races and what are people looking for when they go out and vote. They're going to hear a lot about Angie Nixon at the top of the ticket. They're going to hear all about that change and how she's progressive or even a democratic socialist or all of this stuff. And people are going to be listening. Well, what does all of that mean? And how does that translate to all these other races? And so if we go down from Senate, we got the representatives
in Congress. Mhm.
and here we have now Amanda Green being the Democratic nominee for Congressional District 2 here. And so I think you're going to hear a lot of people trying to press her on saying maybe things like, what are you going to do about Medicare? Do you like Medicare for all? Sort of things. Do you, in terms of how you want to fight back against this, like, what people call an authoritarian or fascistic government with Donald Trump and so forth. Like, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about education and the defunding of education from the federal level and so forth? Student loans, so forth and so forth. People are going to want to hear that you're not like having a conversation about the conversation. It's just, what's your stance on it and are you going to do it? Because at this point, we don't need any more assessments.
I think a lot of people are feeling like they want to see the action, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like we're so tired of just words, and we are really just wanting this actionable, and we can feel the difference then. Because I mean, I know for me personally, like I don't want to really hear any more words. I'm tired of hearing words. I want to look at like what is the action, what's the impact of the action, and then let's decide based off of that.
Exactly. And so I just want to make sure we get that context in of like, where's the energy at? And the energy is at something different, something new. We don't want to hear the same things over and over. And so that I really want to just skip down to then our local races. And with the mayor's race, they said Matt Lowe got most of the votes there. And they're saying that we want someone that is an activist. We want somebody that is pushing and challenging systems.
Yeah.
If you're not challenging the system, then you're not that interesting. And maybe people will will come out and vote for you, maybe for relationship reasons, but you're not mobilizing people to get out of their bed or out of their couch on a random Tuesday in the middle of November to come and vote for you. And so if we're talking about increasing voter turnout, how we increase voter turnout is definitely making sure that these candidates that are running are being inspirational, and they're being inspirational to the point where it's not, again, you're saying what you said before, or you're saying you're not challenging the system. If you're not challenging the system, people aren't going to come out at all.
No.
If they're not hearing people challenging systems, they're sitting down, they're like, this is why my vote doesn't matter, because none of you people are actually challenging the problem.
And I think a lot of people too are hurt from the leadership in the past.
Yeah.
They feel like, I mean, you guys even said it yourself, right? That you get someone in the seat and then they won't take your phone calls.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And they won't listen to what you have to say. And I think that's something that everyone kind of feels right now in our current local government. That's what I feel.
Mhm.
And that's really why the whole page was started 3 years ago, right? Was that I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel like my voice mattered to anyone sitting up there. And I wanted to make a change about that. And this is like the perfect opportunity for our community to say, hey, which one of these candidates is going to be that for me? Which one is going to make that change?
Mhm. And again, I think for the mayor's race, people determined that Matt Lowe would be that for them. Lorraine Osley coming in a close second. I think also still kind of shows a kind of bit of a difference to them in their minds, probably is different in that Lorraine has not been a part of local government in quite some time, but feel like her experience elsewhere might bring about different conversations. And skipping to the city commission races, the seat 3 race being the open seat that it was, and how close it was between Tom Derzapolsky and Talithia
That
Edwards.
was a nail biter. I was
Nail
watching
biter.
that, and it was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was right there, like, the whole night.
24 votes separate the two of them.
And they're doing a recount of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
expecting a recount. That's what supervisor of elections said.
Yep.
Yes. So
So
they'll
don't
be
never
recount.
say your vote doesn't count.
I'm-
24 people is like
Made a difference.
That's a
no more than
classroom.
24 people.
Yeah, that's a classroom. Like that's literally a classroom of people that could have came out and voted, and had their voice heard there. But yeah, in that race again, I think people are wanting to hear something different. And I think even the top 3 candidates there with PJ Perez and Talithia Edwards and Tom Derzapolsky, folks felt like these were 3 newcomers. And it was a tough choice in determining who is going to go up there and actually take people's phone calls. Like who do we feel like is going to be down with the people enough to that they won't let the commission change them.
Yeah.
And the folks made their decision there. And we'll see how the recount goes with who comes in second place there. And then finally with seat 5, with Diane Williams Cox, Dot Inman Johnson, and Tiffany Hill. I first want to say that again, with Tiffany Hill being the newcomer in that seat and
She did great,
doing
right?
as well as she did, again, shows that energy that I've been showing through this theme that like people want something new.
Yeah.
They want something different. They're not seeing the changes really happening from people who have been in office before or are incumbents immediately, right? And so I really commend Tiffany Hill for stepping up and running and doing that and being that voice for people. And I think you'll see that continue with that. And then again, with Diane Williams Cox and Dot Inman Johnson, 2 big powerhouses, both getting quite a bit of votes in their races for this seat. For this to be a race at the bottom of the ballot, you usually get people dropping off, not really going all the way through. But even with that, they still got quite a bit of votes between all 3 of them.
To your point, though,
mhm.
about people wanting change, I think that certainly the incumbent being that close to someone who hasn't held office in decades, should be very concerning for her and her camp. I didn't watch her video just yet. I know she put out a video today, I guess, like celebrating maybe. I'm not sure. But I think that, they're probably concerned behind closed doors because
I mean, I would be.
yeah.
I think about the election last time in the primaries when we had Dot Emmon Johnson against Curtis Richardson, and it was very, very close. Dot was only a few percentage of points, I think, away from being over that 50%.
Mhm.
And this year, none of these races were over 40%.
Nope.
So none, and I thought that was just fascinating because it just shows that people are not voting in these blocks like they used to, where it was like you knew how people were going to vote here and you knew how people were going to vote here. And now it's kind of up in the air. We don't really know who's going to vote for what, and you can't peg their vote based on what group they're a part of.
Absolutely.
That's so very interesting that you say that, because I'm sure some folks probably thought that there's like a Matlow voter, then a PJ voter, then a Dot voter. But I think because of these numbers, you're seeing that jumped from there. There's probably a Matlow voter, then a Talithia voter, then a or a Tom Zapolsky voter.
Yeah.
Like everybody isn't looking for. No one's looking for a rubber stamp in any race. No one wants to just think like, oh, you're going to always be with this person. You're always going to be with that group. People need to know that whatever the issue is, that you're going to be on the side of the people.
Well, and I noticed even like between our groups, right? My team endorsed Tom, and then your team put Talithia. Did y'all give her an official endorsement
No,
or
just a recommendation.
a recommendation? But even like with that, right? You have such a difference in what people are seeing, and I think that that's actually a really good thing because I think it's showing a healthy community that's actually independently thinking about their candidates, and they're not just following kind of like the status quo and what everyone else is saying to do.
Yeah, and we saw that even within our camp at Alert. Just like when we would have discussions, there was a lot of people who were like we support Talithia, and then there were a lot of people who were like, no, Talithia is going to stand with the establishment, and we need change. So that was an ongoing debate, and it was just interesting to kind of try to navigate that because what ultimately prevailed for Talithia, at least with the vote support that she did get being so close, was despite a lot of people's concerns about her, a lot of people knew her in the community and trusted her to be a good leader. Tom, I think, had the fortune of just being a likable person. Like, he seemed like that moderate person who's going to make decisions based off what he thinks is best, and he wasn't coming in with any predisposition. And of course, PJ bringing that progressive voice. I think he carried the progressive block.
Yeah.
So that may have been what worked for him, as opposed to his opponents are pulling from different spaces.
One thing I noticed was in the beginning, so all the early votes, he had 30% of the early votes at the beginning of the night. And so I noticed that, and I think of progressives are usually the ones that are going out. They're doing the early voting. They're doing, they're getting out there right away. And so I think that shows too, kind of like where the votes are coming from in that instance.
There was something else I was going to say.
Yan and Amanda already did.
Yeah, we did. I think
Keith
that was.
Carlson.
I think that was all of them.
Okay.
I mean,
School board. We got Marcus.
oh yeah, we did. Okay, we
Yeah,
did
Marcus,
do
yeah.
school board.
Yep.
So we endorsed
Marcus
Marcus
Nicholas.
Nicholas. I think that comes from people knowing him, having relationships with him, have done work with him within the school
and if you
board.
notice too, on the school board, whenever he is speaking on the school board, he is asking for data. He is asking to bring things back to the school board, and he is asking questions. And I think that that's what a lot of people are wanting to see in their elected officials, is someone who's going to challenge either the superintendent, the city manager, the county administrator, someone who's just going to, kind of challenge things when they're not kind of panning out the way that
we don't have a voice on the dais, it feels like sometimes. So we're looking to people to speak for us. And I think Marcus is one of those people who's going to say, hey, citizens are concerned about this, so I feel obligated to ask this question.
Yeah.
Again, the common theme being people want folks who challenge systems. Everybody knows and everybody recognizes that this system is rigged. It doesn't work. Something about it, I could tell you what it is, but there's something about it that doesn't work. And so they want to see elected officials who also believe that this system does not work, and actively fight against it. And if they don't see that and they don't feel that from you, if they feel like you're like, we can work with it. No, it's a dead stop. They're just like, well, I'm not going to come out and vote it all in. Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But inverse of that, you have a lot of people who are trying to defend that status quo as well. And that shows you in, I think, particularly with Commissioner William Cox, her campaign was like, we've done what we've done, just we're going to keep moving in the same direction. And she, out of all the city candidates, had the most voters in the primary. Now, will that translate into the general election runoff? I'm not certain. But I think she can have a degree. While she did only get 39% of the vote as an incumbent, that is something to worry about. But then also looking at how the night went, out of all city candidates, I believe she had the most votes.
Yes,
so,
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that she could look at and build from. So she has an interesting way to navigate ahead. Is she going to come out and offer more, or is she going to stay just playing defense?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think kind of hurt Parks was whenever he said that he was going to kind of keep doing what Daley was
Yeah.
doing.
Oh, that was the biggest blunder. Him
I think
stepping
that
out
hurt
and
him for
saying
sure,
that.
Yeah. I think that really probably hurt his results. I think he
Definitely
lost
did.
a lot of votes from that. And that's, we kind of see that, where he came in third place. I think he actually probably had he not taken that stance, I think he
Yeah.
actually probably would have been a little bit higher.
I wanted him to come out as Daryl Parks, the civil rights leader and activist, but he didn't seem to want to lead with that side of him. He wanted to stick more to his legal understanding and conservative kind of, or I'll say moderate views. And that, I think, again, when people are looking for change agents and you come out and say, I'm just going to keep everything going how it is and I'll work in these areas, but I'm not going to make any big changes, you're going to not inspire a lot of people to come out, which is what he needed. And then the people who, as a newcomer, the people who are already there offering change are going to be a step ahead of you.
Yeah. And especially in the climate that we have right now in our local cities, I mean, there's so much dissatisfaction with how our government's being run. There's so much feelings of being shut out, comments being limited. And so to come out and say you're going to continue that, I think that's, was
I
a
think
bad
he
move.
actually publicly said he supported the literally
Yeah.
limiting time on public speaking.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
those little things began to add up. I think the TMH thing he said he agreed with,
Mm-hmm.
and then he didn't take a strong stance on data centers either way.
And I think you could get away with that as an incumbent, but not as a new candidate, not in a nonpartisan race where, if he maybe was running as a Republican, some of that stuff might. And there's no.
Is he a Republican?
I don't think so. I'm just saying, had he chose to run in a partisan race as a Republican, some of that stuff might have carried. But I don't know that carries with the widespread, diverse voter group that we have in Tallahassee.
I mean, thinking about this whole idea of needing to be moderate to win elections, I think is interesting because, I mean, I'm not sure that Osley is that much more progressive than him, So I feel like there's probably a way that he could have communicated it,
Good point.
avoiding outright saying, I want to continue what Mayor Daley has done. He could have talked about maybe more so the values instead of saying literally I'll continue the mantle.
Yeah.
Well, this is my problem though, is that to the point what you just said, Lorraine Osley already had that lane, and Parks was trying to fit in that lane, and that lane was already filled. Like Bruce said, you should have leaned on your other personality, or your you should
side of you.
the side of you that you were trying to tell everybody else of who you are, and I believe that that's who you are, but you had the assessment of that you couldn't run as that. But again, when you look at somebody like Angie Nixon, you need to run as yourself. You can't fill a lane that somebody else is already filling.
Because even on data centers, he responded to that a little. He came out eventually saying he was against it, but this is a few days. Early voting had already started.
Yes.
A lot of the mail-in ballots are already in. And then he's telling us, wait a minute, I'm not for data centers. He allowed his opponents to take with his
lead.
His lack of
a stance.
To use that against him. And that hurt him because if you follow, data centers are unpopular across both parties, across the country.
Yeah, across the country.
And to get that.
So if Republicans running for higher offices are able to come out and say they're against it,
right,
and you've said nothing,
yeah,
and you're in a community that does trend more progressive or more blue, then that begs the question. I mean, there were local commissions right outside of Tallahassee, if I'm not mistaken, that had voted on a moratorium, at least
Exactly.
temporarily,
Wakulla.
again, Wakulla. So like, if they're able to do it and you're not, that continues to beg the question. I also think it's worth noting his race for Senate. I felt like it was an interesting thing to watch him, run against a Republican as a Democrat and lose that race, and then run in a nonpartisan seat, because I feel a similar sentiment to that race. It was like he felt like he had to toe that line and like not be super radical because of how vast the Senate district is, and I don't think that his message translates with the people of his party as much as he thinks it does.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he raised a good amount of, amazing amount of money, I should say. He ran a decent campaign, and I still want to applaud him just for having the courage. Daryl could be out just making his money doing other things, but he chose to come and try to represent the people.
I mean, Alert is always open for those folks who can fundraise a lot of money for a cause, because we're going to be on the ballot in November, and we do need help.
We got a cause you can put that money in.
We got a cause you can put your name behind, for sure. For real.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And Vinman as well. That message goes to your campaign.
Yeah, and I think it also shows too, that it doesn't matter how much you raise or how much funding you have.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about your messaging and how you kind of like land with the voters.
Right, because didn't Tiffany Hill have around the same number as him?
Yeah, about
And what did she
1,000.
raise?
Not nearly as much. Not even
They
10%.
they about 1,000 votes apart, and
And
she
about-
raised.
about $200,000 apart.
She raised about 20,000 then.
Yeah.
And he raised over
And she had about the
200,000.
same amount of votes.
Yeah.
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 That's amazing.
I thought she did.
Yeah.
I thought she did incredible in that race. Especially being a no name. And I know that there's a lot of discussion around the fact that she was a no name in there, but I don't know that necessarily really hurt her as much as not getting more support from bigger groups. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's where
Well, we have an interesting culture in Tallahassee. I'm glad you bring up no
I was
name,
screaming.
because there are movements and like close-knit communities in Tallahassee who are not as engaged in politics, but who easily can be tapped. And I think that when we talk about name recognition and all of that, like that doesn't necessarily mean that that translates to votes. So I'd be interested in seeing what she can do in the future. But, I'm thinking about like local entrepreneurs. There's a Facebook group, Black Biz Tally or something. And from my understanding, it's not just local, it's like surrounding counties. But it's like over 10,000 people in that group. So
Wow.
I'm just like, I think we could start to see a drastic change in the way that, and that's something that I want to see. A part of why I wanted to be more engaged and alert, especially in the last year, is that we see it with this 24 vote difference. Like we can literally flip
Yeah.
and have a majority of the commission with not even just people who have more progressive political views, but people who are newcomers to the political scene altogether.
I
And
want to see a
that's-
lot more newcomers.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I wanted to see new faces,
Yeah.
new voices, new perspectives. Like, I think that's what we really need, especially in our local government. And that's kind of like where you get into politics anyways, is like on that local level.
Mhm.
And then like, that's where you kind of get your name in the hat. And then you can move up to, state and everything else. But I
Mhm.
think that, Angie Nixon started local, right?
That's a great question. I don't know if she started in Jacksonville
No, she was
local
never
politics. I think she just ran for
She just
state
ran.
rep.
But
Yeah.
she was a
She just that
community
good.
organizer.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like she was involved in local politics in
Yeah.
the sense of being an organizer.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I will just say this, like alert, and it goes to what we were saying. Like we talked about relationships and that like swaying people in the way that they voted. But I think also an understanding of, we hear these folks up here talking, but then when they come to us and they have these town halls and all these things, it's almost like patronizing, where they're treating voters like you just couldn't understand like the policymaking process. So we're just not going to include you in it at all. And that's where we kind of fill a gap, where we're not just educating people on what's happening during election cycles, and we're not just hosting forums. We're constantly educating people so that we're demystifying this process. I mean, I don't know how many people I talk to in my day job lobbying at the Capitol, at the state level, or with what we do with Alert, who are so, and even like, on the Commission of the Status of Women and Girls, I'm a commissioner, and it's kind of the same attitude there where there's such an anxiety around engaging elected officials because it feels like this is such an important person. Like they, to be in their position, they must be qualified, they must be accomplished. But I mean, Trump is president.
Not the glasses.
Donald J. Trump is our president. So I love to tell people, like, first of all, you pay taxes, like the Capitol is yours, City Hall is yours, right? The courthouse is yours. But second of all, some people, they luck up and, they get, it could be a difference of 24 votes and all of a sudden they find themselves an elected official and they may not be knowledgeable on the process. So just the same way that they can learn and they're figuring it out, same thing for you, but you can't get confident in understanding this process unless you're engaged and you're involved. Like it's one thing to learn in the classroom, but it's a whole nother world when you actually go to these meetings consistently. You're looking at the agenda items. You're actually learning how to read this and digest this material.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time and somebody's running for election, it's not as easy as them being charming or you read their website and they have great talking points like now because you've been exposed to the policy and you understand what's actually at stake and what decisions they actually have to make. And like you can never, skip voting after you've been exposed in that sort of way.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with that because before I did this page, like I would look at these agenda items and I would get so overwhelmed and I would be like, what am I even reading here? And it is obtainable though. You don't have to have a degree in it. You don't have to study for years to do it. You just have to read it and then just stay at it. And you're going to make mistakes, obviously, whenever you're reading it. But finding people who can help demystify it for you is like a huge step in that. And then if you have any questions, you can say, hey, I don't understand what's going on with this. It doesn't seem right. And sometimes just recognizing when something doesn't seem right or doesn't feel right leads you down a lot of rabbit holes. And then once you start hopping down those rabbit holes, you just can't get out.
Yeah.
Like they did what?
Yeah.
Money?
we were doing that this morning, okay? Looking at some of these historic policies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll share that with you later.
No, yeah, this is hitting on all the points of, again, like people. Well, let me back up. We make choices as humans, as elected officials. Nothing is really brought down, like falling out of the sky, and it's like something fell out of the sky and said we have to have $2,000 rent. Like somebody chose to make rent $2,000,
Or to allow it to get to that.
Right.
I was about to say, no, it fell out of the governor's office, not letting us do rent control. But
Right. So it's like, I want to, and a lot of what I'd like to say is like an organizer is that I'm trying to ignite in people that they can make their own choices. Like you are the master of your own destiny, and all you need is an organized force of people that have the same values as you to push for better choices. Nothing here is forever, and everything is temporary. I don't care what people say, how many times somebody says something is a done deal or whatever the case may be. Ain't nothing done till it's done, and even when it's done, you can reverse it. So,
what group was it who walked back their endorsement of Vindman?
The vet group,
and he's a vet. Ain't
yeah. So I mean, like,
so it's not done, obviously.
And I mean, again, like choices can be reversed and choices can be changed.
But when we know better, we do better, right?
Right.
So, like,
The zombie amendment, good example.
Exactly. So we just like to ignite in people that they can make those choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that because it's also putting the control back in our
Exactly.
And we don't have to all agree on everything, but we do have to be able to have a conversation about it and get to the point where we can find something that we can move forward with, right? And like you said, finding people like mine, that's how you move those things forward. And then talking to people with other ideas is how you find the middle ground.
Exactly.
All right.
Trying to think of what else we want to do. We missing something?
November 3rd, you need to vote. Yes.
Don't wait till November 3rd. Vote early.
Early vote,
Early.
my bad.
And local people, we invite you to join Tallahassee Alert. We have a process. It's working. We are moving things. We are building power. And we invite you to be a part of that because we want to get more people involved because it's going to make I think it makes us all stronger. It's like if you scream at the commission by yourself, they're going to say, "Hey, you crazy person." But if you come and scream with us, they're going to say, "Hey, all of you people, what do you want?"
As a disclaimer, in city commission and county commission meetings, we do not scream. We're very professional. We dress appropriately. We actually help people prepare their public testimony and all the things. Just as an
We don't
FYI.
literally scream at people.
But if we need the screen, we will get there. We will escalate if we need to. Okay, don't forget that. We will escalate.
We never have though. Well, I'm just saying,
I was
we,
gonna say,
like,
did we? I mean,
I
we
think
was yelling for that TMS.
we probably. I'm done. It wasn't planned. But no, I feel like that's a good thing, just as a disclaimer to bring up, because I don't think people understand what Alert actually does. And like all the things that we've described today, the CCRC, the way that we've engaged the county commission and going to those meetings is literally what's already laid out for the citizens to get involved in the democratic process. We haven't done anything outside of the democratic process. So I
Not
just,
at all.
yeah. just wanna
And
point that
you
out.
think about it, at the last county meeting, the chair of the county commission, Chairman Caban, he said at the end, he was like, he wanted to commend Tallahassee Alert for the work that we've done and the decorum that we use when doing it to move policy. We get calls from commissioners and text messages from commissioners on a day-to-day basis, and it's become normal to us, and we want to bring more people into that process. I think one of the first things we started doing was like, hey, let's all go to the restaurant and sit down with this commissioner. And we had O'Keefe come out one time.
Yeah.
We've had Nick Maddox come out and just be like, these are your voters. They got questions for you.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I always like to tell people your commissioners are just people,
Exactly.
and they're regular people like you. They were a regular person, and now they just have a fancy title. And you have every right to go to them and say what you want to say. Their job is to listen to you. Literally, their job is to listen to you. You're their boss. So tell them what to do.
Technically.
So when we're successful, like our vision is we will create a community where everyone feels comfortable. They will be like, we have to build a stadium to hold these commission meetings in because everyone's coming.
That would
And
be
that's what
awesome.
we want.
That would be really
Yeah.
awesome, though. I
Yeah.
love that.
So childcare would be involved,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So my kids don't have to be out in the lobby during the meeting.
Well, especially if we took public comment from like a stadium full of people, we
Yeah.
definitely need some sort of childcare.
Yeah.
And dinner.
Yeah. there you go.
So everybody with that money that was giving money for these
The
elections.
meetings are during dinner time. Like when they go on breaks, the staff and the commissioners they be
eating.
going to the back, coming out with plates, and we sitting here going to the vending machine. And I know that food gets bought with taxpayer money. So I'm like, can I get a plate?
Well, at the CRCC meetings, they would feed us. We had the Publix catering. So that was good.
Yeah, we had some sandwiches.
Yeah, it was nice. Better than nothing. Better than vending machine.
All right. Well, I think that's a perfect spot to end it here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and close this on out. We have the upcoming meetings. August 24th and 25th is for the school board meeting. We have the city commission meeting on August 26th. You can go back and review those. If you want to watch the county commission meeting for the historic harms, you can go back and watch that on the county Facebook page or their YouTube channel. We're going to do the Alert website in the bottom in the description down here. So if you want to check out the Alert website, you can do that. And you can also follow in their website or their Facebook pages, and y'all have
Instagram.
and Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. So you can follow those as well. Next week's discussion is going to be with Dr. Anika Williams, and we're going to be talking about,
Alert
She's an
member.
alert member.
Yay! So back to back, right?
Mhm.
And so we're going to be talking about attendance in Leon County schools and the obstacles that students face with that. And we're going to ensure that we are supporting our students being there and not discouraging them altogether. Thank you.